Alright, today's project is reinstalling the Auto Connect with the modifications I've made. And I'm going to follow the instructions for this thing. So the first step is to take the these arms off, the deck lift arms. So you gotta take these two spring clips out and then take the pins out, because in order to properly align the Auto Connect, you have to have this on the deck. And I didn't lose it. Look at me. Come on. I need some better pliers, man. There we go. Now for the two on the other side. Alright, now I got all the spring pins out. Next step, I'm going to take these cleavage pins out.
Got it?
Yeah.
Alright.
Next step. So I got my key on from my manual drive shaft. I can't get it off, so I'll just leave it. And then it says have it on with 2mm spacing between the coupler and the gearbox. And that looks like about 2mm, because it does have a stop on the inside. Now when I took this thing off a few months back, there was no Loctite thread locker. I'm going to use blue. And I would recommend using blue because red is permanent. Anyway, there was no thread locker on the set screws on my delivered unit. Now, I don't know if that's the factory or the dealer. Either way, it really disappoints me, because the install instructions say use Loctite. So you can understand my disappointment when whoever put this thing together for me didn't read the instructions, because both of the set screws were backed out and one of them was ground down halfway. So I had to go ahead and buy 2 new set screws. And yada yada, warranty, take it back. Honestly, a bit beyond that point. Because if they're not smart enough to put it on right the first time, they're not going to be smart enough to do it right the second time. We will see, though. This is too small. So anyway, want to get them in with your Loctite. And of course, you don't necessarily want 20 pounds of force, but come on. You want it tight, because this is going to take a lot of vibration and abuse. And if this comes loose, you're going to have a real bad time. I'm up. Alright, so between the torque and the Loctite blue, that ought to be plenty fine. Alright, now for the science experiment part of this install. So I bought 2 new plastic bushings. I got them on. I have countersunk the carriage bolt holes, and I will be replacing the carriage bolts with flatheads because the carriage bolts are rubbing on the frame. Now the fun begins. So you get 2 sets of nuts with your auto connect. You get 4 regular flange nuts and then 4 locking flange nuts. The ones that connect here are the regular. Alright. Now I did these, and you can see the countersink holes are kind of nasty, but this is for science anyway. Alright, now to attach it, the arm, so on this side you get this piece, and then that's supposed to act as a guide and a stop. Do want to get them tight enough they're holding flush. But you can still move it. I think I want to put in some fender washers take out a little bit of that slack. So give me a minute to grab some fender washers. And I'm back. Okay. So I've still got a lot of side-to-side slot, but I don't want to completely eliminate it. So the harebrained idea I have now is to use, can't use 2 fender washers. Let's see what else I got. 1 fender and 1 regular. I don't know. How much are we talking here? Yeah, I'll go with 1 fender and 1 regular. That ought to give me a little bit tighter grip on the piece that's welded to the draft arm. It's on there pretty tight. Those are the lock nuts anyway. So now next step is to install the draft arms and align the auto connect. draft arm locked in. Now, I think you want about the 2mm spacing that it says for the male adapter. And you can see there's actually a lot of play. But I think that's what I'm going to go for, right about there. Nope, wrong one. This is hard because the actual drive shaft wants to flop down, so it's pulling the whole thing away. I don't really like all the slop between the connectors, but not much I can do about that. The real fun thing is getting this torque to the spec of 20 pounds. I mean, I got a torque wrench, but this this bit here has a lot of play to it. Maybe I'll just go nuts and super torque it. Okay. That's probably way more than 20 pounds. But that's a good thing, right? The next step is to put on the backstop and the hanger, which will be under the frame. And then putting this bad boy back on the mower. Alright, one last thing I missed in the instructions. Now I'm seeing it now. You want to have these, you want to have them super tight around the bushing. And of course I put all 200 pounds of torque. So you just want to hold them tight, I guess. and tighten them up. I suppose it could get really fancy and use a C-clamp. But since I'm taking it apart and adjusting it and trying to get it all right, so we'll take the extra steps, right? Okay, and that's much tighter around the bushing. I had a lot of wobble going on because I honestly was not paying attention, and I'm glad I went back and read the instructions because I'm trying to go for the best possible outcome. No wobble on the draft arm now. The instructions say on two-wheel drive only units to put in this this thing, but it came installed on mine, and looking at photos sent from Mark at L&M Concepts, it's on four-wheel drive units, and I personally can't think or see a reason. That's not gonna work. A reason why it wouldn't be installed on a four-wheel drive unit. Okay. Come on. What am I missing here? Anything? I don't think I'm missing anything. Okay. So then this will hook onto the spring on the top. Come on. We gotta load the whole mechanism into here. Put on this washer and put on this nut. Okay. Maybe. Or is it just the hoses? Nope, that's too tight. off. Still a hair too tight. Alright, and these hoses are in the way. The instructions show the drive shaft hanger. Here. Now for the fun of reattaching the draft arms with this extra heavy bit on it. Okay, honestly, it was a little easier to do the other side first. All right. Reconnect. On the hoses. But honestly, as far as that goes, the auto connect is reinstalled and complete. Alright, mowed the lawn, took 25 minutes. Mowed it at the 3-inch setting, which before the auto connect would have made a heck of a lot of noise, and this time it sounded the same as a regular drive shaft. So I'm going to go ahead and say I have the issue resolved.